When Elon Musk walked into a high-end restaurant, he didn't expect his casual attire and bold presence to trigger a public confrontation. What happened next not only stunned the manager, but had an entire city talking. It was a sunny afternoon in Los Angeles, the kind that makes you want to soak in every moment. Elon, now in his early 50s, had just spent a quiet morning working through some emails and decided to grab lunch. He chose LA Terrace, a renowned restaurant known for its blend of sophistication and exclusivity, the kind of place where every table seemed to hold a story. Celebrities, CEOs, and influencers. He'd been there before, always enjoying the peaceful ambiance and the impeccable service. As he walked through the glass doors, Elon stood out, not just because of his fame, but because of his relaxed demeanor and unassuming outfit. He wore a simple black t-shirt, jeans, and sneakers, nothing that screamed for attention, just the way he preferred to dress. He was greeted by the hostess, a woman in her mid-30s with a polished demeanor, who seated him near a corner table. The restaurant wasn't crowded. A few diners sipped their wine and exchanged muted conversations. Elon opened the menu, his expression calm as he scanned for his favorite dish. He didn't notice the glances at first, an older man at the next table nudging his companion, a couple of wait staff whispering near the bar. But then the manager emerged. A man in his mid-40s, sharp suit, sharp voice, walked briskly to Elon's table, his face tight with determination. "Excuse me," the manager said, loud enough to draw attention. "We have a policy against casual attire here. I'm going to have to ask you to change." Elon looked up, surprised but not rattled. He placed his phone on the table and replied calmly, "I wasn't aware of any policy like that. It's in our dress code," the manager insisted, gesturing vaguely toward the entrance. "We want this to be a place of class and decorum." Elon tilted his head slightly, weighing his options. He glanced around. The diners were pretending not to listen, while some openly stared. "I'm not trying to cause any trouble," he said, his voice neutral. "I'm just here for lunch." The manager's stance stiffened. "You need to change, or I'll have to ask you to leave." Elon paused, his expression unreadable. Then with a slight nod, he stood. "If that's how you feel," he said evenly, "then I'll leave." The room fell into an awkward hush as Elon picked up his belongings, leaving behind his untouched glass of water, and walked out of the restaurant without another word. The door closed softly behind him, but the tension inside lingered. Outside the restaurant, Elon paused for a moment, letting the warm California breeze brush against his face. He adjusted his jacket slightly as if reaffirming his choice to wear it and took a deep breath. He wasn't angry, frustrated maybe, but more than anything, he felt disappointed. He had always been taught to treat people with respect, even in moments of disagreement, and this felt like a betrayal of that principle. Inside, the restaurant buzzed with whispers. A waiter leaned into the manager and asked, "Do you think that was the right call?" "That's him," the waiter added. The manager waved him off. "We can't make exceptions. If we let him stay, it sends the wrong message." Meanwhile, Elon walked a few blocks down to a small park, found an empty bench, and sat down. He pulled out his phone, typing first to his team, letting them know what had happened, and then to a few close friends. He wasn't looking for sympathy, just clarity. Was he overreacting? Was the manager justified? Replies started pouring in. One friend texted, "That's crazy, they shouldn't have treated you like that." Another added, "You handled it way better than I would have." As he scrolled through the messages, an idea began to form. He wasn't interested in revenge or a public confrontation. Instead, he saw an opportunity for something constructive, something meaningful. If the restaurant wanted to avoid casual attire, why not promote a message of unity and understanding? Elon stood up, determination sparking in his eyes. He began making calls, his voice calm but filled with purpose. "Hey, I need your help with something," he said into the receiver. It was the first of many conversations that would set his plan into motion. Back at the restaurant, word of the incident began to spread through social media. Other diners shared their stories online. They kicked out Elon Musk for wearing casual clothes. One post read, accompanied by a blurry photo. Another chimed in, "Classy place, huh?" The manager, scrolling through his phone, felt a knot form in his stomach. The comment section was filling up, and not all of it was supportive. "Let them talk," he muttered, trying to shake off the growing sense of regret, but deep down he knew the situation was spiraling out of control. By the time Elon returned home, the incident had already started making waves online. Several influencers had picked up the story, their captions ranging from supportive to polarizing. Elon glanced at the posts briefly, but didn't dwell on them. He wasn't interested in fueling drama or dividing people further. He wanted to create something that could turn this negativity into a positive outcome. Sitting at his desk, Elon jotted down notes in a small notebook. He thought about the interactions he'd had that day, not just with the manager, but with the people watching, the silent judgments, the curious stares. What could he do that would encourage dialogue rather than conflict? He wanted to challenge divisiveness, but in a way that felt personal and impactful. The idea came almost instantly: a public fundraiser. Not just any fundraiser, but one with a clear, unifying message. He envisioned an event that would support underprivileged communities, particularly focusing on creating safe spaces for open conversation. He picked up his phone and made a call. "Hi, this is Elon Musk. I need some advice on organizing a charity event. Yes, it's urgent. Can we meet tomorrow?" As the evening progressed, Elon's plan took shape. He drafted a proposal for the fundraiser, deciding to set it up right outside LA Terrace. He wanted the location to emphasize that even in places of conflict, unity could find its way. His friend agreed to help with logistics, and within hours, the wheels were in motion. Meanwhile, the fallout at the restaurant was intensifying. The manager's decision was no longer a private matter. It had become a public debate. News outlets began reporting on the incident, quoting eyewitness accounts. The restaurant's social media pages were flooded with comments, some praising the manager for his stance, others calling for boycotts. The manager tried to focus on his work, but it was clear the tension was growing. The following morning, the block outside LA Terrace began to transform. Trucks unloaded equipment, volunteers set up tables, banners, and a small stage. Elon stood at the center of it all, overseeing the arrangements. The banner above the stage read, "United we stand, building bridges, not walls." By midday, the crowd began to gather. Families, professionals, activists, and even a few familiar faces from social media. Elon took the microphone to address the audience. "Yesterday, I was asked to leave this restaurant because of the way I was dressed," he said. "That's okay. I respect their policies even if I don't agree with them. But what struck me wasn't just being turned away. It was the bigger picture. We've become so quick to judge each other, to take sides, to shut down conversations. That's not who we are. We can do better." The crowd erupted in applause. This event isn't about me, and it's not about them. It's about all of us finding ways to listen, understand, and come together. The funds we raise today will go toward programs that foster dialogue and inclusion. Thank you for being here and proving that unity is stronger than division. Inside LA Terrace, the manager stood at the window, watching the event unfold. He hadn't expected Elon to respond in this way, and it left him conflicted. Some of his staff had stepped outside to join the fundraiser, unable to resist the pull of the lively music and sense of camaraderie. A waiter, who had been there the day before, returned to the bar and said quietly, "You should go out there and talk to him." The manager hesitated but then stepped outside. The crowd parted slightly as he approached Elon. Elon saw him coming and extended his hand. "I'd like to talk," the manager said quietly. Elon smiled faintly. "Of course." They walked together, the crowd watching, but giving them space. They stopped near the edge of the event where the music and chatter were softer. "I didn't handle yesterday well," the manager said, his voice low. "I thought I was doing what was best for my restaurant, for my staff. But I realize now I made a mistake. I judged you and acted out of fear, not fairness." Elon nodded slowly. "It takes courage to admit when you're wrong. Thank you for saying that." The manager exhaled as if a weight had been lifted. "Watching what you've done today, it's humbling. You could have retaliated, but instead, you created something positive." Elon smiled. "I don't think the world needs more anger or division. What happened yesterday could have added to the noise, but I wanted to show there's a better way." The manager nodded. "I think that's a great idea. Let's make it happen." They shook hands, and the crowd erupted into applause. The day ended with a sense of unity, proving that even in the most divisive moments, it's possible to find common ground.